Ready when y'all are.
Clint, how did you feel Spencer handled himself in his first start?
I thought he handled himself pretty well, you know. I think there's a lot more room for improvement, and thought it was a good start. It's all about winning the game. You know, we disappointed we didn't get the win, and we had opportunities to do so. But it was a solid start for him.
Based on some of the numbers out there, it was the lowest motion percentage so far for the season for you guys. What went into that a little bit, and how much is a rookie quarterback kind of a factor in that, if at all?
I think that wasn't part of the plan, but probably used more quick counts in the game, so you can't motion with that. But no, it's interesting. I didn't even think about that, but I thought Spencer handled the game plan really well.
I think it's 3 straight weeks with kind of a similar illegal procedure motion penalty in a critical moment. How do you address that?
Yeah, well, it's number one's on coaching. We got to get our guys on the same page. So it's critical errors that can't happen. It starts with me.
But I mean, just in the sense of, I think it's kind of like getting set. Is it just they didn't know they had to get set, or was it just a mistake in that moment?
No, I think it's a lot of things at the end of the day. Quarterback has to make sure that before we start a motion that everybody is set. So I think that's part of Spence being a young guy, but it's also part of the wideout position. It's the whole operation. Can't burn a timeout and can't lose a key third down because of it. So not okay.
What were some of the things Spencer did well that you feel like he'll be able to carry over to this game, the rest of the season?
I thought he got out of the huddle. He got the play called, got us to the line of scrimmage, carried out what we asked him to do from practice to the game. He didn't change throughout the game. He did exactly what he does in practice. So I was excited to see that. It was, I think that's what a good player does, whether it's a quarterback or your tackle. If they have the same demeanor and they don't surprise you in the game, they just do what they do. I think that's a really good quality to have.
Clint, you've obviously been familiar with Denver's defense for a while. How impressed are you with everything that's come together with their defense, and what's the biggest challenge in going against them?
Yeah, I mean, they're one of the top defenses in the NFL. I think they're extremely aggressive. They got a really good front. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I think they're excellent in coverage. I think just about every category they're pretty high up there. So, we're going to have our work cut out for us.
Clint, obviously, injuries are just something that I have to account for every season, but with the specifics on this year's team, interior offensive line, quarterback, maybe this week the receivers, how much have you had to just adjust your game plans week-to-week basis based on just personnel?
Yeah, there's been a ton of adjustments made, and I've said this before, and I truly mean it. It's great. It's great. When that happens, you got young guys that are just chomping at the bit to get their opportunity. A good example of that is Bub Means. He goes in there and he did a good job in the game. Now it's one game. He's got a lot of work to do, but it's fun to see those guys that have been working their tails off in practice go in there and get an opportunity. The next guy gets a chance, and we definitely have to adjust, whether it's, things we're asking them to do, the alignments we're asking them to get in, how much you can carry into a game plan. Definitely a lot of adjustments need to be made.
Then you mentioned the quick counts earlier. What was it about that particular game that kind of sent you in that direction?
I wouldn't say anything special. It's something we talk about, each week, and some games it shows up more than others.
Clint, where do you see the running game right now? I know it hadn't produced as much as earlier in the year, but I mean, how much of it is injuries taking its toll, and how much of it is just y'all's execution?
Yeah, I just see it's not where we want to be, and we gotta make some major improvements to get it back to where it should be. So that's plain and simple.
Speaking of adjustments, I know it's a lot more complicated than they saw what Spencer was doing with the rollouts. They took those away, and then there wasn't anything that seemed to be working after that. What's the more complicated version of why the offense struggled in the second half?
Yeah, I thought you could go through a lot of places there, but you probably look at our first down production wasn't as good. You look at it, us not running the ball the way we want to. It took 4 sacks in the second half, and there's a lot of things that went into it. But the bottom line is you can't have zero production in the second half and totally totally let the team down. So that's on us. We got to score points. We had our chances and didn't get it done.
What have you kind of seen from Kendrick Miller working his way back into the lineup?
Yeah, just a slow, gradual arc for him in a positive way. So, didn't get it to practice a lot in the off season, and he definitely looks healthy, and he's been giving it his all. So, pleased with where he's at.
What did you see from club meets, like working before you guys up?
You guys know how important practice is to me. Like, I see a guy that he's going to make you play him based on how he practices. He's not going to take no for an answer based on the silent tape. So his effort has been really good in practice.
Klint, after one game with Spencer, can you do more? Are there things that maybe you held back in the first start that you could start opening up a little bit in start two?
Yeah, I think he earned that right, yes. Without elaborating, yes.
How do you feel like he handled the pocket? Just that feel for it?
I thought Spencer did a lot of great things. I was really excited with him, and he'll be the first one to tell you that there's stuff in that game that would help us win the game that he's got to improve on. So, was his pocket good? Yeah, was the movement good? But we need to go win that game, and there's some critical plays that would have got us there. And there's critical plays that I didn't do a good job on as well. So I was part of that whole plan, and offensively, we just got to go find a way to get a win.
Thanks, Clint.
Appreciate it.